Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Well, actually, this is more of a Wildlands video. And actually, I just wanted to have a conversation with you guys while possibly letting you know some of the mind state on some of these clips that I've put together here. But I wanted to have a conversation about the types of players that you encounter in shooters. And some of those players you encounter in Wildlands and Breakpoint specific, but just kind of more or less shooters in general. And the reason it made me think about doing this video in this way was an encounter that I had with a player as I was doing my solo queue. And after that encounter, it's like, oh, you know, this is one of the type of players that a lot of people just don't like playing with, or you have to encounter because you're soloed, or you know, you go into a random match. So these are the type of players that you run into. And so so in this first clip, I just tell you right now, I came in, they were already down one. Because I came into the match and they were already down one, I pretty much just went into heat seeker mode. I went up here looking for this for this sentinel. From there on, you'll see that every time I see a shot marker, I just head in that direction. But at any rate, so I was playing with this squad, random squad, and we were on desert outpost, and nobody was using their mic. Just cool. I mean, that happens. You solo queued a lot of times, nobody's communicating. Why don't you use your mic on this game? Well, now I might understand, because after you hear the story, you'll see what I've started doing. So the end of the match, everybody's died. I'm the last one left. I'm using the mortar. The last guy that died shouldn't have died because I used the mortar and I marked the assassin for him, and he had to jump on the assassin, but he lost the fight to the assassin anyway. Okay, that happens. So I come out my zone and I know exactly where the assassin is. So I'm behind a rock and I hear him moving around, and all of a sudden this guy comes on the mic and says, "You better not let that assassin clutch you." And the only thing that came through my mind was, so you've had a mic this entire time, and the only reason you've used your mic is to say something negative. Okay. And the other thing that went through my mind was, dude, if you just shut the hell up and let me work since everybody's dead, then maybe, you know, I can make some things happen. And the reason that it bothered me so much wasn't because he came on the mic and said something negative, was talking trash, or he didn't use his mic the entire time that we were playing. It was because I actually ended up losing the fight to the assassin, and then hearing him saying garbage. And it was so much that I wanted to say. I wanted to talk so much trash to this dude, mainly the fact that, dude, you've had a freaking mic this entire time. You're not even communicating. You're not helping your squad. So wouldn't that make you garbage in that regard? But it bothered me so much that it made me, from that point forward, every time I go into a match, I'm in a voice chat, and it made me want to do this video to talk about the type of players that you encounter in shooter games. So obviously, number one I wanted to talk about was the person who doesn't use his mic until he dies, and he either A, starts coaching, which obviously, why would you want to listen to somebody who's dead trying to coach you? Obviously, everything that you've done up to that point failed you. So why would I listen to you? Or they don't ever use their mic and then come on the mic talking trash about your gameplay. Now, you really can't talk trash about my gameplay because I'm active. Even when everybody dies, I don't go into a corner and camp. Situations where everybody dies, I usually end up going into heat seeker mode anyway, because I'm like, well, you know, the last one left. I know when I'm watching the last person left, I don't want to see them camping in a corner. That was the boredom clearing my throat right there, because I really didn't care about the outcome of this game. And these people can't hear me. That's just the only time I'm doing any coaches is when nobody can hear me. Because at this point right now, I'm in a voice chat. But so that's one, the person who uses his mic not for communication to help you in the game, but to either criticize you or coach you. All right. Number two that I want to talk about is the rush to dyer. These are the guys who may grab the assassin, or in Wildlands, do the run glitch, run up the middle, and end up being the first one dead. either because they didn't pay attention to the fact that there's 4 or 3 people grouped up on the other squad, or they just, for whatever reason, run into somebody who works out on them. Now, these people can also turn into coaches. Um, they'll either run into the middle, die immediately, and quit, which I'm the type of solo player that I own my mistakes. If I know for a fact that there's a squad on the other side and I make the decision to run off by myself and I get jumped and murdered, that's on me. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to eat that L. But some people can't do that. They make a horrible decision. They run up in the middle. They get murdered when they quit. Or, probably even worse, they run up in the middle, get murdered, and now they're either over pinging or they're over coaching. And like I said before, I don't listen to the coaching of dead people. Because obviously, everything that you did led to you being a spectator. Oh my gosh. Am I that bored in this game that I'm clearing my throat so much? I'm trying to get attention. But at any rate, so there's the rusher who ends up dead. And then obviously these things have trees because you end up with coaches a lot of times. You'll end up with the coach that continuously coaches you throughout the game. And I get it, man. People are passionate. You know, they want to win. But the thing that I've never done and will never do in this game is coach people. Active intel is all I ever give. There's somebody in that building. There's somebody over there. He killed me right there. So those are the only things that I'll do in the game. So you run into coaches. I don't know which ones are worse, the alive coaches or the ones who start coaching once they're dead. Once I started clutching games and being the last one left, I started running into people who not only coached, who would also tell you what to do while you're doing it. Reload, get down on the ground, get cover, start shooting. Like, is that necessary? I don't need any of that. A lot of times I want to say, check my numbers, man. I don't need coaching, but I don't do that because, you know, I'm just not that type of person. So there you go. You have the people who don't use their mic until they want to coach or criticize. The rush to die and leave, or rush to die and coach. You have the living coaches and you have the dead coaches. And then you have the overpingers. These people that you hope never die in the game, because once they die, because they're bored, they start pinging everything, which is an issue. Because a person like me, because I'm solo and I know that people ping so much, I more or less just end up ignoring pings. Which, honestly, if you're in the game and you're watching somebody and you hear a noise on their screen, then they can also hear that noise. So there's really no need for you to ping something that's right next to them or something that you hear. But they're going to do it anyway because they're dead. They probably died the first 60 seconds of the match. So they've got 7 whole minutes possibly to wait for the match to end. So they are some of the worst. And make those pings turn into white noise. No. So in this clip right here, man, I added this clip on here because I ended up just outflanking like 2 or 3 people in this yellow building. So as you'll see, as this goes along, I guess somebody must have saw me going to this building. So they start throwing flashbangs and grenades upstairs almost immediately. But I end up outflanking them anyway. All right. So the next type of people that you end up running into in shooters are just those toxic individuals who just talk entirely too much. Have you run into those people who just won't shut up the entire game? Whether they're coaching or talking about how skilled they are. And honestly, I really don't end up having a lot of interactions with these people because I end up just muting them. I've probably got half of the Wildlands community muted as it is because I just really don't have a lot of patience. I really don't. I've had people who have come on and started talking from the time they got on the game to the time they ended the game was just, you know, making unnecessary noises or just talk crazy. People are bored on the game, I guess, so they just end up talking crazy. So that's the type of things that happen, man. If you guys can think of some of the type of players that you run into in shooters, add that in the comment section below, man, because I'd like to know your thoughts on the types of players that you run into in shooters or in Wildlands or Breakpoint in general. The types of players that you run into. So in this situation right here, I am really going to work this yellow building. As you'll see, I'm going to work this yellow building to the best of my ability. I think I get about 3 kills from the yellow building. But anyway, the other types of players that you run into are the 3-man squads. Especially on Wildlands, the 3-man squads that somehow all get murdered at the same time and then want to vote you out. And again, like I said, the only reason you would vote me out as a 3-man squad is not because I'm somewhere camping. It's just because you're like, we've died in the first 60 seconds of this match. And then we don't want to wait to see what this guy does. I actually had a situation where I was playing with a 3-man squad. The reason I jumped right back down here was I knew that dude was blowing up my mind that I had on this this point man up here. But I actually played with a 3-man squad. They all died in the first 3 seconds. And I'm actively hunting and killing people. I killed one person, got into another gunfight, killed that person. I started running to go pick one of these idiots from the 3-man squad up, and I'm booted because they voted me out. So you get those 3-man squads that get murdered right away and then decide to vote you out because they don't feel like waiting. Or maybe they are mad because you didn't run with them up the middle without any intel and then get murdered as well. But for whatever reason, the types of people that you run into as well. And the other type of people that you run into are the ones who camp the entire back of the map from the beginning. Now, these are the people you run into. They are, you actually tell that they aren't shooters. I've had a situation where I had a squad that was hiding in the back of the map. It was a 4-man squad. And then for whatever reason, I just went to look at the numbers. And the highest KDR on there was like a 0.6. So I get it. They're trying to find some ways to have fun in the game without getting murdered right away. Now, this is one of my favorite clips right here. I did realize when I recorded this clip that I actually ended up, I got a modified ace. I ended up getting 5 kills off of this one map because I did not realize that nobody on my team killed anybody. So this is a whole bunch of setup right here. I went up top. I saw him in the corner running up, so I went on top of the rock. Now I thought he might have saw me climb up there, but obviously he didn't because he's just throwing crack. He was trying to throw flash grenades over the rocks. And so the next guy, once I see that first grenade, I say to myself, he's probably got a grenade in his hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and just rush out again and kill him. Now at this point right here, I figure I was gonna die because I hear the other player that's on my left. And then it takes me, in my mind, too long to kill this tech. But obviously he must have been on the other side of that rock. So this right here was the best setup that I could possibly do. Because I heard his every movement and I knew he was following behind me. So once I got out the door, I just turned on him and let him have it. And like I said, I didn't even know that was an ace at the time. And this right here was another situation where I was inside of my voice chat, not talking to anybody. Because like I said, since that time that I ran into that dude who only had something negative to say and never used his mic for communication, I've since then been in a voice chat. And honestly, I play better when I'm not playing more or less like the ultimate teammate. Because when I'm playing like the ultimate teammate, I do things like trying to pick people up in the middle of a gunfight, listening to people's suggestions on how or where I should go. And I honestly play better because I feel like I'm more tactical than the majority of the people who play this game. honestly, because I've seen games with both squads do the same thing every time. And the only reason I'll do that, run to the middle, because you know where the high traffic areas are, is if I'm not interested in playing with the squad I'm with, or I just want to get a map over with. Certain maps that I don't like Oil Rush, fuck it, I'll run to the middle of the map. I don't care. Let's go ahead and get this over with. Win, lose, or draw, let's just get off this map. Or if I'm playing with a bunch of cats who do the same thing over and over again, I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and run it to the middle. Let's see how this goes. So I go ahead and get off this map and get away from you guys. So honestly, I play a lot better when I'm just listening to myself and not listening to anybody else. Now, I put this clip on here for anybody who's new to the game, just to show you that why you should never stay in one place for too long. So the first guy was back there in the back of the map, and he'd been back there pretty much since the beginning. This disruptor was over there for the longest time. As you can see, he was pretty much over there from the time that I killed the ranger. So if you're playing against veteran players and you haven't heard from them in a while, that means that they're moving around, and you should too. If you stay in one spot for too long and you're playing against veteran players, trust and believe they're going to get behind you and you're going to end up dead without even firing your weapon. So that's the tip. That's the tip and the hint from this particular video. And then let's see, what are other types of players that you run into on shooters? You got the toxic players who talk trash during the intermission, which I really don't care about those guys, man. This cyberbullying isn't a thing for me, because I know how to mute and or ignore people. Like, I get that nonsense going on in the lobby, I'm usually going to get a drink anyway. Now here I almost messed up, because I see this stalker over here and I know he's shooting. I see him in the bush and I'm like, I'm gonna melee this dude, but he turned on me at the last minute and he almost got the best of me there. But the tank, that extra health pool, actually helped me out in that situation. So, all right, I think that's about it, man. If you guys have any other types of players that you could think of that you run into in the shooters, let me know in the comment section. I also added another clip down here. If you run into this guy that's about to pop up on the screen here shortly, if you ever run into this guy, man, just go ahead and leave the lobby. I don't like giving cheaters kills, but this guy, inevitable, you'll see here. He at what point? At what point did he actually turn and shoot me? Yeah, I had to leave. I don't like giving cheaters kills, man. If I know that you're a cheater, I'm just not going to stay in the match with you. It's just not what I'm doing. If you don't have the skill to play the game, play another game. You got to cheat to win. I mean, I wish there was a way to get all the cheaters together and just have them in their own little lobby. You guys cheat as much as you want to. But anyway, I want to do a giveaway pretty soon at about 100 subscribers. So like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, share this if you like the content. And I will see you in the next one. All right, peace.